Hello, I am going to show you some information that will be very useful to you when you begin assessing your students in tutoring. So this week by Sunday, I believe that is June 9th, you should have already watched the fluency videos that are in Module 1 folder. And so I just wanted to kind of give you a quick overview of some things that will be helpful to you as you are continuing on watching those videos and as you are thinking about how you're going to assess students' fluency. So in order to do that, I'm going to scroll down a little bit and show you where some very helpful information is. You're going to go into this tab, Literacy Resources, and you will see that there are many different folders in here. By the different areas of Big Five. We're going to go into the fluency folder. If you go in here, you will see DIBELS Fluency. This is what I want you to use to check your students' fluency. And so you will click this, and it might be kind of helpful for you to go in here and look at this before you watch the videos about DIBELS Fluency that I've already given you. So you're going to create your own account, and of course the username is going to be DIBELS user, and then the password, of course, it's blacked out here, but I did give you the password right over here. So it's this 980679, okay? This allows us to use these materials for free for instructional use. So you'll come up with this box here, and we're just looking for test materials and then download test materials. So that's what we want to click on, okay? This is the DIBELS 8th edition. You'll notice when you watch some of those other videos, especially that PowerPoint tutorial on how to use DIBELS, the gentleman giving the tutorial says you're going to read 3 scores and take the best score, or I'm sorry, the median score of those. And we don't do that anymore, not with this 8th edition. And so you'll kind of have to keep that in mind, that students will possibly not even read a passage if they are in the lower grades. And if they do read a passage, I believe they only read 1. So they did do some changing. So it's very important that you come in here and look at this information that I'm showing you right now and get familiarized with the testing material, okay? So you're going to click Download Testing Materials for the 8th edition. I agree. And there we go. Now, if you look here, whatever grade that it is you are tutoring, this is the one you would select. So if you're tutoring 5th grade, you are going to click these things, okay? You don't, you can look at the maze and the maze students' materials. You can look at these things too if you'd like. To be quite honest with you, I'm not sure if we can use these or not, or if these scores have to be inputted into a computer program. But what the maze scoring does, this one kind of helps us not only with comprehension, but also vocabulary knowledge. So if you want to look at these, you certainly can. But right now, for our purposes, we're going to focus on the scoring booklets and the materials, okay? So let's just pick 4th grade. You'll see there's a scoring booklet. It looks like this. ORF means oral reading fluency. And again, the maze part we don't necessarily have to look at, okay? Benchmark 1, Benchmark 2, Benchmark 3. So in a normal classroom setting, we will check fluency to all students. Regardless if they're struggling or not, we are going to give this benchmark testing to all students in the classroom in the fall, in the winter, and in the spring, 3 times a year. So let's just say that we are at the end of the year, right? Because that's kind of where we're at right now. We're looking at getting ready to go into the next school year, but we haven't made it there yet because we just ended this last school year. So we'll kind of look at this benchmark 3. So after you give the students the reading assessment for fluency, you can look and see if their scores here are at benchmark, and I'll show you where to find that information out in just a minute. So if they are at benchmark, then you do not have to do any other further progress monitoring. If they are not at benchmark, then you are going to want to progress monitor, and by that I mean recheck their fluency. Depending upon how low they were below the benchmark line, you might need to test them every week, or you might need to test them every other week, okay? So if they are at benchmark, then you don't necessarily need to retest them. But if they are not at benchmark, I would encourage you to test them once a week, just for our purposes' sake, okay? Because this will help you to kind of not only give you practice on how to give the fluency assessments, but also it will help you check your students' progress, okay? So let's go ahead and look down here. And here is a story, okay? So you're going to read this story and watch how they score on the other videos so you know. You'll see these numbers here at the end. This tells you what word they're on. And so let's just say that you give them 1 minute, because that's how long they get, 1 minute. And let's just say that they read and they get all the way right to here, to this word shirt. Well, you would look over here and you would see that they read 78 words in that minute, okay? And then let's say that during that time when they were reading, even though they got to here, they read 78 words, but they also missed 3 words. When they were in here, they made some miscues. And so you would take that off. So you would have 78 words total read, minus the 3 words that they made a mistake on or miscue, and that would leave them with an ORF of 75, oral reading fluency. So you would take the total words read minus the errors of 3 or however many they missed, and then that would give you their actual fluency score, okay? And so you can even record that right down here at the bottom, all right? And then after you get that score, again, you're going to come up here and you're going to write that. So total words correct. We're down here. 78, and then errors 3. Okay? The other thing I wanted to show you, I should have done that earlier. You'll notice here that this says beginning benchmark. And remember I said that we were going to the end. That's what we were going to look at. So what I should have done is shown you to come down here. So you see this one says middle. We're going to keep scrolling down, and this one is the end. So this is actually the story that you would want to start at if you were tutoring 4th grade. This is the story. You would want to start at the end, okay? All right. If you would like, you can also, if you have, let's just use this 4th grade for example, you could also look at the 5th grade, the beginning 5th grade material if you wanted to. But I suggest for our purposes, you probably just don't confuse yourself too much and just stay on the end benchmark, the last one, okay? And so again, this is the 4th grade material, okay? And it looks like this is the teacher's material, because the teacher's material will have this booklet on the front that you can write the scores. Whoops. Okay, so let's get out of this for a minute. Again, you see scoring materials and student materials. So since we were at 4th grade, I'm going to come over here and look at 4th grade student materials just so you can see how they look a little different. See, these do not have the numbers on the right-hand side of the page. They only have the words, okay? And this is for the student only. So you only need to make 1 copy of this. So let's say you're tutoring 3 kids. You only need to have 1 copy of the student edition, because you can reuse that for each student. But you still need to make, if you have 3 students that you're tutoring, you still need to make 3 copies of this 4th grade scoring booklet or whatever grade your students are in, okay? So you need however many of your students that you're tutoring, you need that many number of booklets, student booklets here for you, the scoring materials. And then the student materials, you only need 1, okay? And again, down here, this is progress monitoring. So remember I said if they are below benchmark, then you need to look at this progress monitoring materials. And then this is what you would actually, and I'm going with 4th grade again, this is the progress monitoring materials, and this is what you would use. And you'll see here it's broken up for week, month, and if you scroll down, here's some new stories, okay? Again, there is a instruction manual. Please make sure to read that. That's going to help answer a lot of your questions. And of course, I am here too. If you need help, you can schedule a Zoom meeting with me, or perhaps I'll even have a voluntary Zoom meeting that we can all look at together. We can look at this together if you would like. But again, this is the materials that you will use for fluency, okay? And I am also going to show you where you can find the DIBELS benchmark scores. So let me switch over here. Here it is, benchmark goals. Okay, you'll see here that this says DIBELS Next 6. It's a 6th edition. Right now, DIBELS does not have the newest versions up yet to match the DIBELS 8. But that's okay. These still work both together. So you're going to click on these and you will see, it will kind of tell you, you can have to look sideways here. I suggest you print this out. But if you go through here, you will see, there we are. So I'm just going to look at 4th grade because that's what we were just looking at. You'll see here beginning, middle, end, and you'll see all these numbers, right? Since I was looking at the end, that's where we're going to be, this column here. And so what we need to know is, what does all of this mean? So these are the scores right here, DIBELS Oral Reading Fluency, that we need to be concerning ourselves with. So let me scroll down a little bit so you can understand what those are. So words correct and accuracy, you'll see that. So the score of the percentage is the percentage that they were accurate, and these are the words correct, okay? So benchmark is the black emboldened score, so they need to be at least at that, okay? And so let's go back over here. So if we were in 4th grade, at the end of the year, they need to be reading at least 115 words to be considered at benchmark, with 98% correct, okay? Then if you look up here, it looks a lot different up here for kindergarten, 1st grade, and the beginning of 2nd grade. So I just want you to understand that your DIBELS, if you have these lower grades that you're tutoring, your DIBELS is going to look significantly different. But that's okay, because DIBELS comes, if you look at the scoring booklets and when you're giving the assessments, you will look at that and you will understand that there's great instructions. So you read everything, all the instructions verbatim. Here again, this is a much easier way to look at your scores. I should have showed you this to begin with. We're looking at this one right here, the DORF, okay? DORF words correct. And then the accuracy is down here for percentages. So again, end of the year, at benchmark, anywhere from 115 words to 132 words for 4th grade is considered at benchmark, okay? If they are below benchmark, you'll see that that's between 95 words and 114. And if they are well below benchmark, that's 0 words to 94. So this will give you a really good idea of where your students' oral reading fluency is at and what kind of support you need to offer them, okay? And I've only got a few more minutes here using Screencast. I'm using a free version of Screencast-O-Matic, by the way. And so I will make another one of these recordings here in just a few minutes so that you can get a better understanding of how to use this material. But Screencast-O-Matic is a really good tool to use, and I suggest that if you are looking for some kind of technology to integrate into any of your lessons for videos or give to future students, that this is a great tool to have. Okay, and before I go, we'll come back here and we will talk more about these things in this next folder, okay? So stay tuned and you can watch part 2 of this fluency lecture.